hosts, Dante, Sophia, and Zoe.
Today we'll be talking to Cindy Root about her nonprofit, Formidable Joy. A nonprofit is a way for people to work together to support a cause, activity, or the community. Well, hello, Cindy. Thank you for being with us today. Can you introduce yourself and your nonprofit organization?
Hi guys, my name is Cindy Rood, and I'm so grateful that you invited me here today. The name of my organization is called Formidable Joy, which is kind of a really big word for some people. Some people don't know what formidable means, but I think when you think of like a superhero movie and you hear about a formidable opponent, it means somebody who's big and strong and tough. So we turn that into like kind of big joy. So it's Formidable Joy. And the sole mission of the organization is to provide access to clean water for people in Malawi, Africa.
Thank you.
Formidable Joy sounds awesome. Can you tell our audience a little about how you came up with the idea of starting this nonprofit?
Sure. So the easiest way to describe it is I really love to travel, right? And so, but the more countries I went to and the more developing countries that I went to, the more poverty that I saw. And I kind of got to the point where I could no longer unsee anything. And I just wanted to do something, and I wanted to help people. And what I found is that one of the easiest ways to help people and one of the most cost-effective ways to help people is by giving communities or schools access to clean water. Because as you guys know, we can't live without water. We can live with a lot of things, but food, water, shelter, health, education, you can't live without those things. So it just seemed like such an obvious choice to help people get water.
That sounds so interesting.
In our communities, we have easy access to water. Why is access to clean water so important for the Malawian?
So access to clean water isn't important just for Malawians. It's important for every single person in the world. You know, like I was saying, you can't live without clean water. And yet it turns out that across the world, there's over 600 million people who don't have access to clean water. So it's such an important human right. And I just want everybody to have access to clean water. And while there's, so many countries around the world who are struggling, it's Malawi, Africa that has my heart, and that's where my passion is, and that's where my purpose, and that's where the plight of the organization is.
Thank you for sharing.
Can you explain a little bit about the process of building a water system and how much it costs to build a system?
Sure. So there's a lot of ways to get people access to clean water, but one of the main ways that we focus on is drilling for clean water. So if you think about below the Earth's surface are these kind of rivers, and they're called aquifers. So when you drill all the way down about 150 feet, if not more, that's where you can reach the water table. And then what we do is we bring the water up from under the ground by using a hand pump for people. There's also other ways to do it, but for the most part, that's how we like to give access to clean water. And it's very cost effective. It only costs about $5,000 to give a school or a village or community access to clean water. Again, something that's such a basic human right.
That must take a lot of work.
It does take a lot of work, but I'm not out there drilling these clean water wells. We hire professionals, and this is what they do for a living. That's all they do. So they'll show up to a community in these big, giant drilling rigs to begin the process of drilling underneath the Earth's surface. So it's actually, clean water is a really dirty job, it turns out. And I can certainly share photos with you guys of how the guys get all muddy and dirty doing this work. But it's interesting that what a dirty job it is to give people clean water.
How many water systems has Formidable Joy installed since you founded the organization?
So far to date, we have installed or repaired about 100 water systems. So that could mean anything from a solar system to supplying filters, to drilling clean water wells, or maybe sometimes we'll just repair wells that we see that other organizations or other well-meaning people put in, but now they're broken. So sometimes we'll just repair other projects as well. And, to date, between hospitals, villages, and schools, we've impacted over 150,000 people so far.
That's so cool.
How can our GetLem learners learn more about Formidable Joy and get involved with your organization?
Well, so we're really active on social media. You can find our organization at formidablejoy.org, O-R-G. So we're on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And then we have a website where you can look us up at formidablejoy.org. And, there's so many ways to help. I think the number one thing that you can do is educate yourself on the water crisis. Doesn't have to be Malawi. It can just be you Googling simply, and just to see how other people around the world live. That would be my very first recommendation, is you educate yourself. From there, what you can do is once you learn some new facts, you can start advocating, which is using your voice on behalf of other people. So you can educate yourself, you can advocate on behalf of others, and then obviously there's always fundraising. And it doesn't have to be a lot of money. It only takes a little bit to help people. So you could start a lemonade stand, or you can collect coins or bake cookies. Everybody did just a teeny tiny little bit, it would add up, and it means a lot.
That's amazing. Thank you for telling us that.
Thank you again for joining us today. We hope you will be a leader and help us to support this cause. Please stay tuned for the next Tiger Tech podcast.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate you having me. That was really fun.